I was born in Washington, D.C., and we lived for a time in Westover and then spent some time in Fairlington. When I was a toddler, I used to sit on Shirley Highway and wait for my dad's bus. I've loved this area all my life, which is why I'm still here. This is home. I was in college at the Northern Virginia Community College Annandale campus, and I thought I wanted to be a police officer. I was in the criminal justice program, and my instructor said, hey, there's an opening in Arlington, and I interviewed for a position in the records department and was hired in October of 1979. And I was there for 6 months and having a grand time when I hurt my knee, and they put me in communications. And I thought, ooh, I like this. And I was home. I'd never felt more comfortable in my life. Call taking is an art. You have to listen. You have to obtain a very specific and pretty much large amount of data. And you have to get it from people who are not at their best most of the time. Most of the people who are calling 911 are not in a happy, cheerful mood. Every incident and every call has its own life and its own rhythm. And the longer it goes, the stranger that can become. And frequently, if it goes well on our end, it goes well for the police officers or the firefighters. One thing about communications is that if you do your job very well, no one ever knows you were there. But if you do a good job, you know it, and it's a great feeling. September 11th was a gorgeous, glorious day. Very crisp and clear and low humidity. I had been working out in the police department's little gym and was getting ready to go get dressed for the day when we had heard reports that the first plane hit in New York. When the second plane hit, we all knew that it was not some horrible accident, that we were into something and that we didn't know what was going to happen next, and we needed to be on our toes. We had turned the television off in the communication center, I believe, because it was very distracting. And we were watching it in the kitchen when the plane hit the Pentagon. The phone went incredibly crazy. In fact, it stayed that way until almost midnight, where you could not dial out, and sometimes when you picked up a line, there was someone there. The minute you were finished with one call, you just went to the next. And that went on for hours. People wanted confirmation that it was not an accident and that it was an act of terrorism. We received phone calls from building owners of tall buildings. We got calls from people who did see it and were witnesses. And the fourth group, which you don't really plan for, is the people who just needed reassurance that we were still there. There was a lot of that. We spent as much time as we could, but we let everybody know that the calls were not stopping and that we needed to get other calls. It's very heartbreaking to let go of somebody who clearly needs to talk and needs to express themselves and get reassurance from you, and not be able to stay with that until you think that it's at least somewhat finished. Several times during the day when I had a half a second to breathe, I would think, oh my God, this has really happened. And for days and days afterwards, it was just get up, go to work, stay as long as you possibly could, go home, go to sleep, get up. And that went on for I do not know how many days. About the fourth day in, when I came home, someone had mowed our yard. And that made me cry. It was a random act of kindness, and that undid me for a while. That was really lovely. Luckily, I didn't have time to dwell, but I also made myself just put it in perspective and think, okay, at some point, this is going to be a week old, and then it's going to be a month old, and before you know it, this is going to be a year old. And on this side of that equation, it seems like yesterday and seems like years ago, all in one fell swoop. My name is Lisa Thompson, and I've worked in Arlington all my adult life, and I love my job, and I love coming to work every day.